Very good morning to all of you. There are so many activities and so much action in the electric vehicle scenario that it's becoming difficult for us to keep pace. Once upon a time, that's not long back, but maybe about 6 months back or something, the government or the NITI Aayog used to run faster than the industry. But I'm really very happy to see that the industry has taken the cue and now they are trying to keep pace with the government. I'm still cautious. I'm not sure about the Indian industry scenario because a lot is expected. I would be touching upon a few of those things here. Also, maybe I would not go as per my written script. I had the privilege of sitting here for a part of Shantanu's presentation, and unfortunately, I could pick up a few things from that. It was really interesting, and I must say that they do a wonderful job. Maybe a couple of months back, they had a big event in Delhi also. But Shantanu, and to all the audience here, I have water here. I would tend to differ from you. The graph which you had shown in which India going flat, it's not like that. India is different. And you are, I believe you have an Indian passport, so you know India. Nobody expected that the smartphones would be so prevalent in such a short time. And let me tell you, friends, the solar panel and the solar generation is also going to follow the same path. It's going to be very steep adoption now. There are hiccups, there are bottlenecks which have arose because of the state governments or government stands, but I'm very sure it will also take it forward. And friends, similarly, the electric vehicle or the clean energy adoption would be similarly at the same steep rate. Let the people know about it. Let the word spread about it. That's the only thing which I look forward to. And the battery price falling or the lithium ion, friends, I really don't know, and nobody can predict the life of the lithium ion technology. There's so much of the work going on around, and I'm also very happy to say that a lot of work is going on in our country also for the alternate technologies or the technologies to move forward. So, like the internal combustion is making the way for lithium ion before crude wells or before the wells have dried up. Similarly, the lithium ion will give way to the next technology before lithium, nickel or cobalt finishes up from the earth. So this is what is in writing. Another happy thing which I feel when I address or when I talk to the people, the ecosystem or the stakeholders in the electric or the mobility paradigm, the discourse is changing so fast. What I used to say about 18 months back has changed. Then we had this MOVE summit, that the Global Mobility Summit, which we organized in Delhi. The Prime Minister gave us the clean, connected, and that 7 C's. He said the common, convenient, congestion-free, clean, connected, charged, cutting edge. So all those things the Prime Minister said, and then we started moving on that. And since then, there's so much of the movement and the discussion has gone over, and as I said, the discourse is changing very rapidly. So friends, what I want to speak, or what I want to say today is as to in what direction the policy is going to take, what shape they are going to take, and what you should be looking forward to. Firstly, as I said to Shantanu, and it is for all of you, that India is different. We make more than 80% of two-wheelers and three-wheelers. All those findings which Bloomberg was showing was related with the four-wheeler passenger vehicles, isn't it? So, and to our understanding in the best possible way, and I'm prepared to even answer the questions also if you have anything to, we in a very right approach started handling the thing from the two-wheeler, three-wheeler and the public transport angle. That's and entire ecosystem has appreciated that. Two-wheeler, we make 80%, more than 80% of two-wheelers, three-wheelers. A small battery size, home charging with the AC connection, 15 ampere connection, you charge your two-wheeler, three-wheelers. And if the system evolves, then swapping could be a good option for that. A purchaser or buyer of the electric two-wheeler may not necessarily be buying the battery. There could be service providers who could be swapping the batteries. For the two-wheeler, three-wheeler, it is much easier rather than having a robotic system for four-wheeler and the buses. So this is that's what I said, the India is different, and we compressed the direct fiscal incentive scheme to 3 years. 2019 we have started, and 31st March 2022, the scheme is supposed to deliver 1 million two-wheelers, 1 million three-wheelers, and X numbers of four-wheelers, passenger cars, and something like 84 crore kilometers of the public transport system with the kind of assistance of 3,500 crores which we have expected in the FAME 2. So this is what we have compressed it for the adoption. When the world is moving away from the direct subsidy schemes, so we have to have a inflection point where the adoption is there without that kind of a direct subsidy, which should not be required. Now the friends, if the battery prices go down with that, then sky is the limit, and I'm very sure that once the things start catching up, it is going to be there. Yes, of course, there are implementation issues. Things are a lot of requests, a lot of complaints, a lot of words are coming to us as to this is what is needed in FAME 2, this is what modification is needed. We have not yet, the Department of Heavy Industries has not spoken anything about the swapping scheme, so that is also needs to be looked into. There are small two-wheeler manufacturers. Gil Saab is there. They feel being left out from the FAME scheme. That also should not be the approach. We should take into account that also. But then how to club it with the battery efficiency, which is of the prime consideration? How do we ensure that the better quality batteries or the better quality vehicles do get promoted, so that the technology also progresses as we move forward in that direction? So friends, when India is different, the car ownership, the personal car ownership is less than 20 per thousand. And I don't know whether Shantanu had shown it or not. We are much, much below than the US, Korea, Japan, or Europe, or even China. Nearly 1/8 of China's average. So in that scenario, the growth would be fastest. We are the fastest growing automobile market in any case, but that comprises of the two-wheelers and three-wheelers also. In the segment of passenger four-wheeler, we are fourth or fifth biggest manufacturer in the four-wheeler passenger vehicle segment. And in that also the growth would be faster, much faster. But then friends, how to ensure that the growth which takes place is not putting the kind of constraints or the stress on our infrastructure. And that is where probably what was shown, that if we had taken the names of all the aggregators of 2019, he would have crossed the roof. That's what he was saying. So there are so many aggregators which have come up. There's so much of the potential. One more thing which emerges from what has been spoken here, the entire approach towards the mobility is changing. The people are looking forward to point-to-point connectivity. They do not want the right as it has emerged. The people want, they don't want the ownership, they want the right. How to move from one place to another place. How to move the freight or the goods from one place to another place, rather than having the vehicle, commercial vehicle or whatever it is. So that the entire paradigm is shifting. Lot of emphasis on the intermodal transportation, intermodal connectivity, lot of use of the data. Data is going to be the key, and that's where the business model would succeed, as to what extent you analyze your data, to what extent you use your data, and those major aggregators are doing it very well, Ola and Uber particularly. So all this is the scenario where things are moving in that direction. India is different. We have the average trip size of less than 5 kilometers that we wrote in our report. The first report which we came out, NITI Aayog came out in 2017. Less than 5 kilometers is the average trip length. Average speed of movement of the motorized vehicle is less than 25 kilometers per hour, which is much below what it is in US or Europe, with touching nearly 50, and in any case more than 40 in those countries. So with the less than trip size and 60, more than 50%, around 60% of the movement is still in India. That's what we found. It is still with non-motorized transport systems. That's where the India is different. There's a huge informal transport system prevailing in the country, and the figures of which nobody knows. Even in the NITI Aayog, being the national think tank, we realize that even we do not know that the quantum of Indian informal transport systems. I don't know how many companies or how many think tanks have really done their job on that. And if they have really done their job, then that offers a tremendous range to work on, to move forward, to make the business opportunities, to take the business opportunities from that segment, and that's going to take place. Lot of success to the aggregators, to the sharing vehicles is coming from the now, coming from the type B and lower B category of the towns, wherever they are expanding. So friends, these are the different scenario for the India. Why do we want, what is our wish list? What is NITI Aayog's wish list, or what is what should be the government wish list? To reduce our crude import bills, which were nearly $900 billion 2 years back. And coupled with that is the pollution, or which we are facing so much in Delhi. So these are the two things, primary considerations. And linked issue is that of the renewable energy. The energy mix in our country is nearly 65 to 70% from the coal. Our energy comes from 65 to 70% of the energy comes from the coal. And along with that, there is an aspirational target of 175 gigawatt hour, which is supposed to be getting completed in another 12 to 18 months' time, looks to be not reachable to the fullest. We are working, the government is working, but day by day it's becoming difficult to achieve. But if that kind of aspirational target, for which our Prime Minister has even mentioned a figure of 450 gigawatt hour while addressing the General Assembly in UN a few months back. So with those kind of aspirational renewable energy targets, if we have to move forward, then the energy mix will be changing, and the concerns raised for well-to-wheel considerations will also be taken care of. So the ideal situation is that you generate it from the renewable energy, you charge your battery and move your vehicle. That is where probably, that is what the government should be aiming at, and this is for the stakeholders to look into it, that how to move forward. Friends, I'm giving you a lot of clues. I'm giving you a lot of clues as to why India is different, what are our wish lists, what the government should be thinking, what the stakeholders should be taking into account as a complete picture as to what is happening in the country and as to what should govern their business considerations. So friends, with those kind of aspirational target for the renewable energy or the solar energy, the need is that how do we use that energy? And that's where the battery people or the battery manufacturers or all those who are planning to be in the battery industry, how do they look at it? We need batteries not only for our mobility purpose, but also for the energy which we would be generating through the renewable sources. Whatever we may be saying that we are sufficient, self-sufficient in the power generation, some of the state governments claim that they are surplus with respect to the power generation, but the fact is that the electricity or the regular 24 hours, 24/7 electrical power has yet to reach to the many parts of the hinterland. Now that is where the role of battery storage, the role of the solar generation becomes even more important. So we need battery storage for storing that, and that's where the technology may not necessarily be lithium-ion. There are people working on the iron-related combination of iron with other metals for the storage battery, which could be bigger in size, which may not be as small in packaging the energy per kg of the weight, but then they serve the purpose of storing it. So the requirement is there also. And with that, looking at that, the mission in NITI Aayog, which was formulated just 6 months back, very rightly so, the mission has taken into account or has been entrusted with the job of battery storage also. And as a ballpark figure, as an immediate figure, we are working on the kind of maybe 50 gigawatt hour, because we do realize that if not hundreds, then at least tens of gigawatt hour is needed immediately, as quickly as possible, to give a boost to our mobility purpose. But friends, along with that, there's a huge latent demand for the energy storage applications. And that's where it has to be a combination. The thinking in the government is currently to give direct fiscal incentives for the battery manufacturing also. How to give it has yet to get the nod of the leadership. And as soon as it is decided will be out, we want to be coming out with it as quickly as possible to announce the direct fiscal incentive for the battery manufacturing per kilowatt hour. If you make 1 kilowatt hour of the battery, you get so much of the incentive to manufacture. But then that is the cell manufacturing for which nearly 80% of the minerals are available on Indian soil. And as I said earlier, the lithium, nickel, cobalt, which are about 19% of the cell chemistry, constitute 19% of the material which is required, could be, and is not that it's not required. There are so many countries all across the world realizing the potential which India offers in terms of the mobility requirements and the battery storage requirements, like Bolivia, Chile, and the related countries, even Australia. They are all coming forward with their resources, the mineral resources which they have. So it's not that it won't be available. It is available in the sense. So cell manufacturing has to be there in the country, and the thinking is to help it as much as the government could help it. So what is it that now the government has done so far? There are, last about a year or so, the various ministries of the government, the departments have come out with nearly 20 odd major policy announcements. To the industry, it looks as if the FAME is the key, or the direct fiscal incentive is the key, passed down to the consumer through the OEMs. But let me tell you, a lot of other things do make a major impact on that, which are probably not talked as frequently or as importantly as they should be. For example, giving a permit-free permission, the permit is not needed for a commercial operation application of the EVs. It's a landmark decision. The other day, none other than the power minister was mentioning it to me that declaring power or declaring the charging infrastructure as a non-commercial activity is also a landmark decision. So, friends, those are all non-fiscal incentives which have been offered by various ministries and the departments. Ministry of Housing has mandated that all the new buildings coming up should have X numbers of charging stations, should have the provisions. But now the thing is, it's a question of implementation, and as in India, we are good in policy making, but poor in implementations. So let's see how is it really implemented. Gil साहब मुस्कुरा रहे हैं क्योंकि every day I get to know some RTO is not registering electrical three-wheelers in Karnataka, in Maharashtra. UP, Bihar तो भी बहुत पीछे हैं, लेकिन Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, these are the progressive states. And from there I get a lot of telephone calls or emails that this is what is happening, this is what is happening in the field. And believe me, NITI Aayog is not the implementing agency, but we feel so happy NITI Aayog as a think tank. We could mobilize, we could take it forward, we could build up an environment where now electric vehicles, mobility, shared mobility is at the center stage. Otherwise, Shantanu को कौन सुनता है यहाँ आकर के? So friends, a lot of steps have been taken to generally a consumer thinks that ठीक है इतना subsidy मिल गया, so much of the subsidy has been given, that is sufficient, but it's not like that. The green number plate, we are finding it difficult for the RTOs or for the government, state governments to issue the green number plates. And if they start getting issued, they will be exemplary on the roads. Everybody will notice there's something different in this car. Similarly, a whole lot of other announcements. 12 state governments have come out with their electric vehicle plans. The policies related with the electric vehicles. How are they going to promote the adoption of the vehicle? And how are they going to promote the manufacturing of battery and the manufacturing of the components of the electric vehicle, powertrain and battery management systems, electrical motors, all those things. So, and now that we do organize regional conference of the state governments, recently we had it in Northeast in Guwahati. So state governments are also racing to have their EV plans in place. Madhya Pradesh has just finalized it, put it to their cabinet's approval. I don't know whether it has already been done or not. So this is what is happening in the scenario. Now friends, what you are supposed to be doing, what is, I said, what you should be working on. A few concluding remarks. We are the fastest growing automobile market. We have the size and the scale in India which should be leveraged to move forward, to go to the world. We, rather than finding out the ways to circumvent Make in India stipulations or the stipulations which are there of the localization with the FAME, rather than that, you must look at it as a great opportunity for making in India and making it for the world. Now, so much is the demand, so much of the manufacturing capacities which are going to be absorbed in the country, then why not make use of it and move forward? We need research, we need innovations, and something more than the Indian jugaad. India has to move more than beyond the jugaad and grab this opportunity, take this opportunity, start moving forward. Mobility is at the center stage of the economic activity, which we in India were not realizing it maybe just about 2 years back or so. Had not there been this MOVE summit, probably we wouldn't have been able to bring it at the center stage. Had it not been the Prime Minister speaking about the shared, connected, data-based and convenient common man's mobility, probably it wouldn't have come to this kind of a center stage. But friends, it is an integrated part of the economic growth, and unless we do not reduce our logistics cost from 14% to 8 to 9%, which is the global average, not only the best. So all these things do matter. Unless we do not have all the toll plazas or the toll stations having RFID and the vehicles moving just by reducing their speed a little bit, unless we do not have that India, it will be difficult, and that's what probably we should be aiming at. Thank you for having me here. And I wish all the best to the organizers for a successful event here. I do keep talking to the stakeholders on various forums, various platforms, and try to convey these messages that let's not miss out on the opportunities which were offered by the solar panel manufacturing, which were offered by the smartphone manufacturing, but let us be the leaders in the adoption of electric vehicle, manufacturing of the motors, manufacturing of the powertrain. Maybe we are still behind in terms of the cell manufacturing technology, but anything which comes after lithium-ion, whether it is the aluminum water or aluminum air-based technology, or it's iron-based technology, or it is the hydrogen fuel technology, let's take the lead in that also. Thank you very much.